An alleged gun thief is in jail this morning after a series of carjackings. Police say Thomas Martinez pulled off a carjacking near University in Manal yesterday morning and then stopped and took another car near a dealership on Lomas with somebody still inside. Police say an APD officer was run over as he tried to stop Martinez and save that hostage. The person was ultimately able to escape, and that's when police say he pushed an 83-year-old woman from her Cadillac. When a Good Samaritan blocked him with his car, Martinez crashed into a tree. Police say they did find a gun on him. He was arrested and charged with armed robbery, kidnapping, and aggravated looting. He is the same man, though, who police say went on a gun robbery spree on Friday.
Yeah, according to an arrest warrant, Martinez reached out to gun sellers through jasonsguns.com. It's a Craigslist-like site for firearms. On Friday, he met with 3 men within a couple of hours of each other. 2 of the victims tell News 13 that shortly after meeting Martinez, 2 of his accomplices ambushed them.
I was yelling at him, don't shoot me, just be calm, you got all my stuff, just go.
Guy getting in my truck, trying to force my family out of the vehicle. I had my 3 boys and my wife in there, and they all have guns in their faces.
And police say these 2 were not the only victims. Another jasonsguns.com seller was held up at La Quinta the same day. Martinez is hauled from the 3 holdups, 2 Glock 19 pistols, a Beretta rifle, and an AK-47. That's according to police. We turn on to this. New this morning, a lawmaker in South Carolina is defending the state's justice system.
It comes in the wake of charges filed against suspected Charleston church shooter Dylan Roof. Just yesterday, a federal grand jury indicted Roof with 33 crimes, including 12 counts of federal hate crimes. Last month, police say Roof walked into a historic black church and opened fire, killing 9 people. He told investigators that he wanted to start a, quote, race war. Despite the state not having a hate crime law, Senator Lindsey Graham says justice will be served. State trial begins next year, and no word if prosecutors will ultimately seek the death penalty. This morning, police are looking for a gunman who they say shot a teen, and neighbors say it could have been even worse.
There's two little kids that were out there playing, and like 10 minutes later, we hear all these gunshots.
This happened in Roswell. Police there say somebody shot and killed 19-year-old Dominic Finch outside a home in East Roswell yesterday afternoon. Police are now trying to figure out why the shooting happened and who that shooter is.
New this morning, this fast-moving wildfire in Napa County is now only 5% contained. So far, the so-called rag fire has burned more than 4,000 acres, forcing residents and campers to evacuate. CAL FIRE says the blaze started after a car accident. The dry conditions and the wind there, they're not helping at all. For an inside look at how the weather is affecting conditions and the firefight, we turn now to Kristen Curry. Kristen.
Thank you, Crystal. I want to kind of pinpoint where this fire is exactly. Out in northern California, close to the Sacramento area, just to the east at that. And it is just to the south of this lake. But the problem is we did see some gusty, erratic winds yesterday. Winds will likely stay calmer today, about 5 to 15 out of the southwest. But the relative humidity is going to be the problem. It recovered overnight, but heading into the later part of this afternoon, it's only expected to be about 30 to 40%. We could actually see that fire on radar there. We're going to continue to keep tabs on this, as you can see some pretty impressive but devastating photos coming out of that area. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on the progress of the rag fire once we head into the later part of today and we know more. We'll send it back to you guys.
Thanks, Kristen. And just into our newsroom, a bridge collapse along I-10 is rerouting thousands of drivers onto I-40. And we caught up with some truck drivers in Albuquerque early this morning who say they have been affected by that bridge collapse.
They're having to reroute to find their way where they need to be.
It is a pain because the 10 is the best way to Southern Cal. The 40 is longer around. If you take the 40 in Cali, it's 8 hours. If you take the 10, it's 5 hours.
And happening right now, crews in California are busy trying to clear the debris and rubble from last week's bridge collapse. This is where it all happened. You can see the crews busy at work there. We mentioned earlier that's causing a lot of traffic in our area, and the highway, that area too. The highway has been closed in both directions since Sunday after heavy rain washed the bridge away. If all goes according to plan, motorists will still be able to access the main road coming up this Friday.
Happening today, Albuquerque Public Schools is holding a job fair trying to fill dozens of openings for teachers, 330 of them to be exact. About 100 of them are special ed teaching positions. The new school year is just weeks away. The job fair is scheduled from 4:30 until 6:30 tonight. That's at the APS building. Happening now as we take a live look over Capitol Hill. Democratic lawmakers are pushing for a boost to the federal minimum wage. It's an idea already gaining steam around the country. In New York, the state wage board has signed off on a proposal that would set a $15 an hour wage for workers at fast food chains with more than 30 stores. The University of California says it will do the same for its employees at all of its locations. We turn now to this. New this morning, if you're among the millions receiving Social Security for disability, you could see a change on your check soon.
That's because the government says it may have to cut benefits come next year. According to the trustees that oversee Social Security, the fund will run out of money in 2016. Trustees say Congress should shift tax revenue from Social Security's much larger retirement fund. But Republicans say they'd rather see changes aimed at reducing fraud.
We take a live look over New York City this morning, where protesters rallied in Times Square to express concern over Iran's nuclear ambitions. Happening today, the Senate hearings begin over last week's nuclear agreement between Iran and 6 Western powers. That includes the U.S. The deal seeks to curb Iran's nuclear weapons ambitions in exchange for easing the sanctions on the country. The Republican-controlled Congress has 60 days to review the deal. New this morning, the director of the FBI says efforts by ISIS to inspire troubled Americans to kill on U.S. soil is becoming a bigger threat than an attack by al-Qaeda members.
Director James Comey says that the group has been successful in recent months after a heavy presence on social media. And he says the FBI has made a number of arrests over the last 8 weeks from people who had been radicalized. His remarks signal a deepening concern about the impact of ISIS to inspire terrorist violence. A change of tone from last September when the CIA downplayed the group's capacity to attack our country.
We move on to this now. We're getting a better look this morning at some of the items TSA agents found in a bag that caused a scare in Maryland. Agents say the man was headed to Illinois Tuesday when they checked his carry-on bag. That's when they found several knives and explosives such as fireworks. The man tells authorities he was on a camping trip and never removed the items from his bag. Police say there was no indication of any terror threat. He was charged and could face jail time. That could be very frightening, but he may have been on a camping trip. That's what he claims.
Maybe so, but good the TSA agents caught it, right?
Yeah, it is. We begin this morning with some overnight news. Albuquerque firefighters were called out to Central and Lomas near Old Town, just outside the post office, in the early morning hours after a tree caught fire. The worry was about the nearby building. It doesn't appear the building was damaged. That's the good news here. No word on the cause. We did make a call to AFD for more information. They have not returned our calls or emails at this time, but we will keep you posted on air and, of course, through our KRQE News app.
The 2 people accused of throwing fireworks at a homeless man and burning him badly are in jail this morning. They're facing aggravated battery charges and child abuse charges. That's because police say they had their kids in the car with them.
Yeah, police tell News 13 that it was one of the kids who told a babysitter what happened, leading police right to them. The whole thing caught on camera near San Mateo and Central almost 2 weeks ago. Police say that's 31-year-old Joshua Benavides and 31-year-old Irene Enriquez stopping near a homeless man, throwing fireworks out at him. Neighbors recognized the flashy SUV and immediately called police. Police say Benavides repeatedly denied owning it or having anything to do with this crime. But his 10-year-old talked. Now the parents have confessed.
Fireworks were meant to, enjoy and watch. And instead, they took it to a whole new realm. And it was a disgusting act. And they caught somebody on fire, and then they ran from it.
So police say the mom wanted to put the fire out, but Benavides would not let her out of the SUV. That's when they drove off.
Developing this morning, the recent high-profile violent crimes in the Albuquerque area may be affecting gun sales. Now, Omni Arms near Central and Juan Tabo usually sells around 30 guns per week in the summer. The manager says after Stephen Garrick was killed in his driveway by 6 teens on a crime spree, Omni Arms sold about 50 guns that same week. They say many people are showing up concerned about protecting themselves.
That's what we always suggest, is be prepared for it, because you never know when it's going to happen.
A lot of Omni Arms goes on to say a lot of people that they've been selling to are first-time gun owners.
So we turn on to this. We're learning more this morning about the civil rights activist found dead in a Texas jail cell days after this arrest. Newly released jail documents this morning are only deepening the mystery surrounding Sandra Bland's death. In handwritten form, Bland says she previously attempted suicide after losing a baby. She also reported feeling very depressed on the day of her arrest, but another computerized form appears to contain different information. Authorities have said Bland hanged herself in her jail cell days after her arrest, but her family doesn't believe it. Meanwhile, a friend of Bland's released audio of a voicemail message he received from her the day after her arrest. Take a listen.
Hey, this is me. I just was able to see the judge. I don't really know. They got me set at a $5,000 bond. I'm still just at a loss for words, honestly, about this whole process. How they're switching lanes with no signal turn into all of this, I don't even know. But I'm still here, so I just call me back when you can.
So her friend says he later spoke with Bland directly and says she did not sound depressed. Some have speculated the newly released dashcam video is edited, despite the department saying that it is not.
Time is 6:36. The state's crisis hotline, that is aiming to reach more people now. The line provides an ear to those going through a mental health crisis, and officials say they saw an 84% jump in the number of people receiving behavioral health services statewide last year. That's why they're adding peer counselors who will be available 24 hours per day to assist callers. Officials hope their personal stories and perspectives can better help those who are in need.
You know, we're going to do everything we can, put all the rounds on the target necessary to make sure that people have help. And, you know, we don't want to have to look back and say we wish we could have or should have.
The expansion will cost the state $500,000. They're also rolling out a new ad campaign for the hotline. A familiar Albuquerque face will soon be seen all across the world. It's happening on Saturday.
Yeah, he's known for his hugs, but this weekend he'll have the honor of introducing the First Lady at the Special Olympics World Games. Tim Harris has been picked to introduce Michelle Obama at the opening ceremony on Saturday. She is the honorary co-chair. ESPN will televise the event worldwide from Los Angeles. Now, Harris, you probably know already, he owns Tim's Place, a local restaurant where you can get his famous hugs.
Very cool.
Yeah. So this next story is a warning when it comes to thieves who pick your pocket or purse. Security camera video shows a man come up on one side of a woman in California who's busy shopping. That was at a store in Glendale. Another woman stands on the other side of the victim, and a third comes up right behind. Even though you can't see the actual pickpocket, police say when the man holds up some merchandise there, the woman in back reaches into the victim's purse, stealing the victim's wallet. The police say the pickpockets got away with more than $1,000 in cash, and she was probably just traveling through and had all that money with her. Take a look at this new video this morning. It shows a guy as he gets off a city bus in Winter Haven, Florida. Then he changes his mind. Police say when the driver tried to collect $2 more from to get on the bus again, he lost it. The driver locked the doors. You see the man, he's headbutting the bus. He appears at one point knocked out for a few seconds right there. Police are now looking for him, possibly going to charge him with maybe property damage.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Right? Good grief. All right, well, listen to this and look at this video. Shoppers were surprised to see some pigs literally go loose, maybe even wild in a market area. Here's the story. Pig breeders in France let them go, released out of protest over rising milk and meat prices in that area.
Oh, that's interesting.
Just doing some shopping.
Yeah.
Themselves, checking out
Pigs on
clothes.
patrol, huh?
I guess so. Coming up.